My 34 female boyfriend, 38, quit his full-time job over a year ago because he didn't like it. He now works a cleaning job for 2 hours a night that pays him enough to, in his words, barely get by. His sister, 49, recently moved back from overseas and lives with him. She's unemployed as well and also does not want to work. So my boyfriend pays for everything and is supporting her. How? I don't know. But it bothers me because I feel he's freeloading off of me and subtly taking advantage of me now. For example, when we go grocery shopping, he has to put his groceries in my cart and pay for our groceries together. I'm afraid of arguing with him over money because he's easily offended and sensitive based on past conversations about money. So I just say sure. Then I have to tally up what he owes. I have 2 outstanding tabs for him. I once sent him the Excel spreadsheet of the breakdown, and he made fun of me and called me a Jew. I'm not Jewish. He stays over at my apartment every weekend. Even before his sister moved in with him, he wouldn't want me to come to his apartment on weekends. This all started after he quit his job. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I really feel like he wants to be at my place just so he can freeload off my cable and food so he doesn't have to use up what he has at home. I finally said something after our recent trip to the grocery store. He picked out shampoo and a candle for his sister and paid for them alone, but he put his groceries in my basket. So when he left my apartment, I took his food out of the freezer and asked me to pay me back for this stuff. He said in a joking, whiny voice, "I'm poor." And I said, "Obviously, you're not that poor if you can buy your sister candles." He immediately got mad at me and said I was nasty. But I'm fed up. It's ridiculous now. Am I the idiot for making that comment to him? He still didn't pay me back, by the way. Edit. Financially, he was not like this with me before. He would support the sister in the past when she would call him, crying about being broke or whatever. But because it never affected my finances, I minded my business. Not the idiot, but I don't understand why you're still with this nasty loser. Is this really what you want your life to be like? He's blatantly mooching off of you, unapologetically no less, yet you're still with him. I'm afraid of getting into an argument with him over money because he's easily offended and sensitive. What the heck, girl? It's your money. Why are you not establishing and maintaining boundaries? Are you a masochist? Are you so insecure that you think you can't find a better man? No relationship is 100% better than existing in a dysfunctional relationship that wears you and your bank account down. Exactly. As I read this, I wondered how OP finds this person attractive. So many red flags. So many. This relationship has no future without pulling their weight and deep communication. The answer isn't always breaking up, but in this case, run. This person doesn't want a partner. They want a mommy for him and his sister. Or are we 100% that it's actually his sister? Are we absolutely sure he actually does not work? Red flag gas that he doesn't want OP in his place. This could all be way worse. Oh dear, this might be so true. I didn't think of it, but I'm afraid you're right. I wanted to see if someone else said it first. Not wanting OP at his place, staying over on weekends, and buying his sister gifts, the shampoo and the candle. That sounds more like a girlfriend or a wife to me. If she's not going to his place regularly, it's because there's something to hide there. When she's been at his, it's probably when the wife was on vacation or work trips or visiting family. OP, wake up. He's not living with his sister. It's his wife or ex, and you're the side piece. That's why you're never over to his place. Instead, you're buying his stuff so he doesn't have money go missing that his wife will discover. You need to drop him like the lump of lead he is. Context. My brother and sister-in-law had a series of miscarriages before they had my niece, Ava, and nephew, Liam, toddler twins via IVF. As a result, my whole family, especially my sister-in-law, makes a big deal out of the twins, calling them rainbow babies and showering them with attention and affection, almost excluding the other grandkids. I've never really been as involved with this, mostly because I live across the country. Anyway, I'm getting married soon. I'm so excited, and my fiance and I have been diving into wedding planning. My fiance and I recently had a conversation about the flower girl and ring bearer. I brought up the idea of having our dog Mika and our cat Tibby fill the roles. Understand, Mika and Tibby are like children to us. They helped me through my deepest depression. I honestly think I wouldn't be here anymore if I didn't have to stick around to take care of them. They kept my fiancé company when he was going through chemo, and I had to work double the hours to put food on the table. We love them to bits and consider them family. My fiancé thought it was a great idea, so that's what we decided to do. Anyway, I casually brought it up at a family get-together, and my sister-in-law took me aside later and asked why we gave Ava and Liam's roles to our animals. I was confused, and she explained that since Ava and Liam were her miracle rainbow babies, obviously they should be the flower girl and ring bearer. She said it would be good for the family for the twins to be in the wedding, and that it's against tradition to have animals in the wedding. She asked me to reconsider and showed me a picture of Ava in a flower girl dress to show me how cute it would be. I told her that I wouldn't make any decisions without my fiance's input. Then I changed the subject. I talked to my fiance about it, and he said he'd be fine with Ava and Liam taking the roles, but prefer our animals. I agreed that I would prefer our animals. However, I'm wondering if maybe having our animals at the wedding would offend the family or go against tradition. Honestly, I'm fairly sure we'd not be doing anything wrong, but my mind has been spinning lately. Those kids are their miracle babies, not yours. Your fur babies are your babies, so not the idiot. I mean, she already had a photo of the daughter in a flower girl dress. Was she already a flower girl at another wedding? Or is the family taking her flower girl dress shopping? Clearly, sister-in-law wants her kids, and essentially, sister-in-law, to be the center of attention throughout the wedding, planning, and event. And sounds like sister-in-law is trying to make it the kids' whole personalities as well. How often do you think those children have heard about the miracle of their existence and how they're special and important and so amazing? It's one thing to show your child unconditional love, but it seems like it'll be the "my child can do no wrong" type of situation. Despite not being a flower girl, I bet the sister-in-law will also have the daughter in the flower girl dress. OP, please also consider if your pets will enjoy that experience or if it'll be stressful and annoying. If they're going to like it, then by all means go ahead. That's really the only question that matters. Make it a day to remember. Don't let people second guess. Remember that your sister-in-law will kick up a fuss and most likely drag your family into it. I, 28 female, have a toddler son. My brother Tommy, 25, has been dating Gianna, 22 female, for a few months now. She is a little judgmental, not of me, but in general. She babysits other children and constantly judges the parents. She says she'd never let her kids act the way these kids do. Sometimes it makes sense and I agree. Others, she claims that her future kids will never, ever throw a tantrum. They'll accept no the first time, the only time. I've told her good luck with that when it comes to toddlers. My son is learning no and has appropriate consequences for tantrums, but he's learning. It'll happen. It's also important to note that Gia's infertile. She can't have kids without medical intervention or adoption. Saturday night, we went out for my dad's birthday dinner. Unfortunately, I messed up and didn't prepare my toddler well enough. He got overstimulated and began melting down. I quickly took him out of the restaurant to calm him down before he could cause a scene. It took 5 minutes, and we returned. He got food and was all good. Gianna started, "My future kids will never act like that in a restaurant." I ignored her. The next day, Tommy, my parents, my son, and Gianna went to the mall for an event they were having. My son was playing in a structure, and I had my eyes on him. My mom asked me a question, and I turned to answer her. When I turned back, he was gone. Panic set in, and my parents, Tommy, and some people nearby began helping me look. It only took a few minutes to find him, and he was perfectly fine. He had seen a pretzel cart and wandered off. I was still pretty worked up, holding on to him for dear life. He had never wandered off before. My mom reassured me, saying it happened to her with both kids. Then I hear Gianna say, "Why weren't you watching him?" I tried ignoring her. Then she said, "I would have never let him wander off." I was already so worked up and upset. I snapped and said, "It's easy being a perfect parent when you don't have kids. Come back to me when you do." Gianna got visibly upset. She then made Tommy take her home. Tommy and Gianna have both texted me, telling me how insensitive that is since she can't have kids. To me, she talks about having kids all the time. So why is it different for me to say it? Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You weren't referring to her inability to have biological children. You were referring to her inability to keep her yap shut. She's just embarrassed because you called her out and is trying to throw it back on you. Yeah, she's crazy pants to think her kids will be perfect. It's pretty easy to say you'd never do something when you don't have kids. Kids aren't accessories. They're individual human beings who can and will react differently. I'm sorry for Gianna's infertility struggles. Still, she can't keep poking at you with a pointy stick and expect you not to eventually snap. Last Sunday, Mother's Day, we had a family lunch at my house. My sister-in-law wanted to have it somewhere else because of the distance, but I'm pregnant, and wrangling my son right now is hard on me, so everyone else has said it would be at my place. They arrived late, which was not a big deal because it wasn't an overly complicated meal anyway. My husband and dad cooked, while my mom and I sat in the living room with cheese and fruit, alas, no wine, and played with my son. When my brother and his wife arrived with my niece, his wife was immediately annoyed and accused us of starting without them. We said we hadn't. The men were still in the kitchen, keeping everything warm until they arrived. Finally, we all sat down, and my brother helped serve. My son gave me my gift, and I gave one to my mom. My brother had a gift for my niece to give his wife and gave something to my mom. My dad made a toast about how the mother of his children was the most important woman in his life, and he was grateful to her every day for his wonderful kids. He clapped my brother on the shoulder and kissed my forehead, and then gave my mom a kiss. My brother started to make a toast as well. He said he was grateful to his mom for showing him how to be a good parent. My sister-in-law then cut him off and said she wasn't going to be disrespected on Mother's Day, and that if this was going to be an extended fawning over our mother, they should leave. My brother told her this was just the first part of his toast, and he was using our dad's toast to segue into his about her. She then said she couldn't believe we all started without her, and we're being so hateful to her. My mom said no one did anything to her, and she should take a moment to compose herself so she doesn't set a bad example for the kids. My sister-in-law told her to screw off. I said she needed to shut her mouth and respect my mom or leave my house. They left. My brother's pretty upset with me. He said I way overreacted and owed his wife an apology. He also is upset that I cursed in front of his daughter. I reminded him that his wife cursed first. He said my responsibility was to be the bigger person and set the right example at my house. He also said this never would have happened if the lunch wasn't at my house. It's been a week since I talked to my brother. I don't want my family to be fractured and will probably just apologize. But was I actually the idiot? Not the idiot. OP, your sister-in-law sounds like she didn't want to be there. She just wanted to be the center of attention. Hence, she arrived late. Sounds like she wanted to start a fight just to make herself look better. She came to your house and was disrespectful. You gave her an alternative, and she wanted to leave. She owes you and your mother an apology. Exactly this. She likely didn't want to go in the first place. You should ask your brother if he pressured her into coming, because if he did, that already set the tone for failure. Now your brother has to pay, which results in him redirecting the heat to you. This is not an excuse for her behavior, but your brother might be a big part of the problem. I'm going to 100% disagree with this one, Chief. Sure, maybe the brother did pressure his wife into going, but here's the thing. It's Mother's Day. There are two mothers in his life. He's an idiot if he goes without a wife, and he's an idiot if he doesn't go to see his mom. He shouldn't have ever had to pressure his wife into going. It's honestly mind-blowing you're putting any of this on the brother, when it's far more likely he had no good choice here. The only thing he did wrong in this scenario is to side with his idiot of a wife, but really, we've all been there. Everyone's the idiot here. I'm getting the sense that there's some missing details here. Strictly speaking, the narrative paints the sister-in-law as the bad guy, but it does seem that she may be excluded from this family. She wanted to meet somewhere else because distance is hard for her, and everyone else shut her down in favor of OP's house. I'm getting vibes that sister-in-law's feelings of exclusion may be valid, although she did handle it inappropriately. Even if they were not, and she behaved inappropriately for absolutely no reason, there was still a much better way to handle it. I, 38 female, work at a tech company where my boss, 29 female, is actually younger than me. She was promoted to senior engineer and manager relatively quickly due to her strong working relationship with the former manager. I joined the team a few months to a year after she became a manager as a senior engineer. The team comprises young people, including my boss and 3 male engineers in their late 20s or early 30s. We have daily meetings where my boss and other team members share personal information about their weekend activities, including going to bars and bottomless brunches, and they often use profanity. I find this unprofessional. During a recent one-on-one meeting, my boss asked me if I had anything to discuss. I told her that her brazen talk about her party life made me uncomfortable, and that it wasn't a good look for a young woman in tech who had risen through the ranks quickly. She apologized and said she'd create a more comfortable environment during meetings. I asked her if she really goes out that much during the weekends. She told me that she and her fiancé live in LA and don't have many responsibilities besides wedding planning and their dogs, so they enjoy going out and exploring the city. I advised her to focus on more meaningful things instead of running around town drinking. I asked her what her fiancé's parents thought of her lifestyle. She thanked me for the advice, but didn't answer my question, and immediately changed the topic to work. The next day, her boss put a meeting on my calendar and told me that my behavior was inappropriate and that I couldn't make team members uncomfortable. Apparently, she had ran to him and snitched on me. He said that my boss had agreed to tone down the talk of her personal life on weekends, but my behavior wasn't up for discussion or debate. He warned that if I do this again, it could result in a case with HR. Feeling attacked and unfairly treated, I talked to the product manager about it, but he thinks I'm being the idiot. But tell me, why is it okay for her to create an unprofessional and uncomfortable environment, but when I match the energy and speak openly, I'm the idiot? So am I the idiot? You are the idiot. You're being an incredible busybody, and you're doing it in a way that's amazingly blind to implications for your continued employment. You took it upon your inimitable self to lecture your boss about her private life, seemingly jealously to boot, and how your boss should run her meetings. How much of this is simply because your boss is 9 years younger than you? LOL, this is a doozy. What makes OP think she has the right or the authority to lecture anyone, let alone her boss, on her personal life? Who asked for OP's opinion? You didn't give her advice. You chewed her out and criticized her for her choices after saying she would tone down her sharing. You're pulling a power play because you're insecure. Envy is not a good look. Wow, advice? You just shamed her for her lifestyle, which is none of your business. Stop acting like being 39 is some magical number where you know everything. I'm also a 39-year-old female and would never be such an idiot.